Hello guys, welcome to RPA Academy. So what we are going to study here today? So we are going to study the chapter 11, in which we are going to, of course, important part will be covering in this particular chapter, and here it is all about your appointment and qualification of directors. Okay, so let's begin with our today's session. First of all, we are going to talk about our section 149, where we are talking about company to have board of directors. So here one basic question is being asked, that who must sit on the board of directors. Okay, and here how many directors should a company have? So we are breaking this particular section into 5 big areas, that is minimum and maximum number of directors. Then we are going to talk about your women directors. Then we are going to talk about resident directors, independent directors, and also we are going to talk about the special rules relating to independent directors. Okay, so every company must have a board of directors, right? So here we are saying that a company shall have a board of directors consisting of individuals and directors, and shall have what? They must have basically, what does this mean? It means a company is an artificial legal person, so it cannot physically take decisions by itself. So people are appointed as directors to make the decisions on behalf of the company. So here let us take the example of some Chiku Limited, right? Now what we are saying, that we are saying here that okay, this Chiku Limited has taken a 50 crore rupees of loan. And what is happening here? We will see that okay, they are opening a new branch, they want to acquire another company, also they have to approve the financial statement. So company will be acting through its board of directors, right? So a minimum number of 3 directors in the case of a public company, 2 directors in the case of a private company, and 1 director in the case of one person company. What we are saying? We are saying that if it is a public company, there must be how many directors? In a public company there must be 3 directors, in a private company there must be 2 directors, and in a one person company there must be at least 1 director. Fine, this is the minimum number that we are talking about. Clear? Now let us say that what will be the maximum number of directors? So it is usually your 15. Okay, here except in case of government companies and section 8 companies that are non-profit organization, so normally a company can have a maximum of 15 directors. But here there is an important exception, where we are saying that can a company has more than 15 directors? Yes. How it can have that? It has to pass a special resolution. Okay, now here we are saying that after that only, after passing this special resolution only, we can have more than 15 directors. So fine. Okay, so here you have to make sure that in the section 49 it has gone under, basically undergone various amendments, and also the company has specific exemptions. So for an actual compliance question, you have to always check okay, what kind of company they have provided in the question. Okay, now let's talk about women directors. So here we are saying that okay, they can increase the number by passing a special resolution, and here now we are talking about a women director. So what is the criteria for at least one woman director? We are saying that certain companies must have this. So under companies appointment and qualification of director rule, first of all we are talking about every listed company, and for an unlisted company that has paid up share capital more than or equal to 100 crore rupees and turnover more than 300 crore rupees or at least 300 crore rupees. Okay, so here you have to notice the word or as well. Okay, so here we are saying that either you must have paid up capital up to 100 crore rupees or more than that, or here turnover must be 300 crore rupees or more than that. In that case, what will happen? You must have one woman director. So let us say that Chiku Limited is an unlisted company. It has a paid up capital of 120 crore rupees and turnover of 200 crore rupees. Does it require a woman director? Yes. Why? Because 120 crore rupees of criteria comes under this particular paid up capital criteria, right? So here we are saying that okay, we need a woman director. Fine. Now let's talk about resident director. What is resident? Here we are talking about your non-resident, resident status of your residency in India, right? So every company must have at least one director who stays in India for a total period of not less than 182 days. Okay, so here we are simply saying that, okay, during the financial year. Fine. So let us see. Okay, also they are talking about every company existing on or before the date of commencement of the act shall apply with the requirement of subsection 1 within 1 year from such commencement of this act. At least one director should stay in India for a total period of at least 182 days or more than that during the financial year. Now, consider there is a person, Mr. A, who is also the director of Chiku Limited, and he has lived in India for, let us say, 185 days. So he is a resident director, right? Then fine, we are okay with it. Now comes the most important and the biggest question about your independent director. So this is very important for you. Okay, the directors, now they are definitely asking 1 or 2 questions at least in every exam about the directors. You must know about them. So here we are saying that, okay, imagine there is a company and the company has a promoter. Also the company will have a managing director, right? Then let us say that company also had some whole time directors, and also this particular company has other directors. Fine, it has all those directors. Now what we are saying? We are saying that fine, now the company wants someone who can look at the management's decision. Okay, if the management is working correctly or not, independently without any kind of bias. So how we are going to see that? We have to appoint some independent directors, so right. So here he is a neutral watchdog on the board of directors. He is neither an employee nor a promoter. Even he is not someone dependent on the management too, right? So here which companies need these independent directors? So we are seeing that each single company that is listed. Okay, so basically every listed company, right, must have at least 1/3 of the total number of directors as independent directors. Also certain section 8 companies and IFSC public companies are here exempted from this particular part. So suppose there is a listed company and it has, let us say, 9 directors. Okay, how many directors are there in this particular company? There are 9 directors. So how many independent directors must be there? It must be at least 3 independent directors. Why? 1/3 of 9 will be how much? Of course 3, right? Understood? Now let us say company has 10 directors, so you cannot have 3.33 directors, right? Why? Because 10 upon 3 is equal to 3.333 now. So what we are saying here, we are saying that, okay, we have to round up, and how we will round up it? Round up, okay, so we will round it up to 4 directors. Fine, understood? So here 1/3 will be calculated and then rounded upward wherever necessary. So what does this independent really mean? See here, an independent director should not have any relationship that compromise with his independence. Okay, so we have to understand that, okay, if an organization is having, let us say, 1 promoter, 1 managing director, and then it must also have 1 potential independent director. Fine. So here we will say that, okay, is the person actually independent or not? Now every company existing on or before the date of commencement of the act shall comply with the requirements of this particular subsection within 1 year. Independent director, who is this? One who is different from MD or a whole time director or a nominee director. He must not be now or in past promoter of the company or its holding subsidiary or associate company. So here we are saying that an independent director is very different from your MD, your whole time directors, or even your nominee directors, right? It is very different from them. There is a wall between them, right? Now because the independent director is supposed to be an independent perspective, if the person is simultaneously the MD, the independence obviously becomes questionable. So here, if the Mr. A is a managing director of ABC Limited, can ABC Limited designate him as its independent director? Of course not. Also, he must not be a promoter either in past or in as of now of the company. Basically, it's the relevant independence restriction extends to the promoter status in the holding company, associate company, as well as your subsidiary company. Now let me give you an example through which you will be able to better understand this particular part. We are saying that okay, Mr. Sharma is a promoter of ABC Limited. Okay, now we are saying that okay, can ABC Limited appoint him as an independent director? Of course not. Why? Because he is already a promoter. Also, he must not be a promoter in the past. Let us say that Mr. A was earlier before 10 years he was the promoter of some company that was subsidiary of this particular organization or a holding company, or might be this particular organization itself, and now later he stops being a promoter. Now can we automatically say that okay, you are no longer the promoter, so you are independent? No, this is also not here satisfied. Okay, so the criteria must be satisfied. So he must not be related to promoters or directors in the company, its holding, subsidiary or associate company as well. So here we are saying that person should not be related to promoter or director. Fine. So how we are saying that? Let us say that a promoter of this Chiku Limited is Mr. Sharma. Fine. Also we are saying that potential independent director is Mr. Kapoor. So here we are saying that if Mr. Kapoor has a disqualifying relationship with Mr. Sharma under the applicable rules, then he cannot qualify as an independent director. Why? Because the law wants to simply say that you are independent on paper, but you are actually closely connected to the management. That's why we are simply saying that you are not going to become the independent director. Fine. Now, every independent director shall at the first meeting of the board in which he participates. Okay, I have become the independent director of ABC Limited. It already had conducted various meetings, but this is the first board of directors meeting that I am going to participate in. Fine, as a director. Now thereafter, at the first meeting of the board in every financial year shall give a declaration that he meets the criteria of independence discussed under qualification of independent director in the subsection 6. So here we are saying that an independent director does not say that I am independent, rather the law requires a formal declaration of independence. So the independent director must give the declaration that okay, first time when it will be giving at the first board meeting in which he or she is participating as a director, and thereafter at the first meeting in every financial year. Hopefully this is clear to you. So here we are saying that okay, Mr. A became independent director in, let us say, July. Now the board of directors held a meeting in August. So here he will participate in this first meeting and he will here declare lawfully that he is independent, right? So he will give the required declaration in the next financial year. At the first board of directors meeting of that particular financial year, he gives the declaration again. Hopefully this is clear to you. Now the independent director shall hold at least one meeting in a financial year without the attendance of non-independent directors and members of management. Basically a meeting of all the independent directors. Fine. So here we are saying that without the attendance of non-independent, basically executive directors would be there, so many directors are there, right? And here members of management must also not be present because imagine the independent directors are discussing, are we satisfied with the management's performance? Can they discuss it in front of the management? Of course not. So here we are saying that they cannot freely speak if they are the managing director was sitting in that room. Fine. So therefore the law gives independent directors a private forum. Okay, understood? Fine. Now independent directors may receive remuneration as a sum of following components. So now you have to understand that independent directors are there, but doesn't mean that they are not going to receive any remuneration. They will receive certain remuneration or component, including sitting fees or fees. Okay. Then they are going to talk about reimbursement of expenses for a participation in board of directors meeting. Also profit related commission as approved in the accordance with this act. Okay, so an independent director is not treated like a regular employee who is receiving a normal salary package, because he is an independent director, right? So here we have this particular criteria. Fine. So remember this one thing, independent director never means no remuneration. Okay. Now, an independent director shall hold office for a term up to 5 consecutive years on the board of a company. So here one term is equal to up to 5 consecutive years. So here they can be appointed for maximum 5 consecutive years in one term. Fine. And can he be reappointed? Yes, he cannot hold office for more than 2 consecutive terms. Okay, so maximum you can become an independent director consecutively for 10 years or maximum 2 tenures. Fine, understood? And then what will happen? There will be a cooling period of 3 years, after which you can again become the independent director of this particular company. So after completing the permitted consecutive terms, the person cannot simply return immediately as an independent director. There will be a 3-year cooling period. Then he will become eligible for appointment again as an independent director, and during this 3 period he should not be associated with the company in another capacity or in the manner prohibited by the Act 2. Okay, so it doesn't mean that okay 10 years have been completed, now let us do one thing, we can become the employee for these 3 years. No, you cannot become it. Okay, so no independent director shall hold office for more than 2 consecutive years, 2 consecutive terms, and 1 consecutive basically one term includes 5 consecutive years. Independent directors shall be eligible for appointment after the expiration of 3 years of ceasing to become an independent director. Now, provided that an independent director is not associated with the company in any other capacity during these 3-year periods, and he shall be liable for any fraud or wrongdoing only if such an act had confirmed occurred with his knowledge, consent or convenience. So what we are saying here, we are talking about your liabilities. Okay, so here we say that okay, what if a company commits fraud, every director is automatically liable? No, here this is not the rule for independent directors. Here this particular section 149 says that okay, I am providing a special protection to independent director where he is liable in relation to offences occurring in the company only where the statutory conditions are satisfied, including where the act occurred with his knowledge, basically attributable through the broad processes, consent or convenience, or failure to act diligently. Fine. So knowledge, consent and convenience are 3 points that you have to remember. I hope this is clear to you. Let me give you an example also. Let us say that there are 5 people in which 2 people are independent directors in a company, other 3 people are, one is the promoter, another one is the MD and another one is the whole time director. Fine. Now we are saying that okay, the management committee has committed a financial fraud. So those 2 independent directors, are they automatically liable? No, they are not automatically liable, okay, for the frauds committed by the management. Rather, we will ask few questions. What are those questions? Did they know the wrongdoing through the board processes? Did they give their consent? Did they convene? And did they fail to act diligently? If the statutory conditions are not established, these independent directors are not automatically liable merely because they were directors. Okay, understood? Can you tell me why this particular law is giving them such kind of a special protection? See here, an independent director is not involved in company's daily operations first of all, right, in the same way as the managing director is. So here MD would be secretly ordering the employees, for an example, to falsify the invoices. Now independent director will say that okay, I didn't know about this, and it would be very unfair to automatically say that you were the director and then you are guilty. No, we cannot say that, right? If the independent director knew about that fraud, he approved it, helped it, or failed to exercise his required diligence, then only we will not be providing such protection to them. Hopefully this is clear to you. I have understood that maximum, minimum number of directors and everything. Now let us move towards our next section, that is section 150, manner of selection of independent directors. So here we are saying that how do we find or select these independent directors. So suppose there is this particular ABC Limited that needs to hire some independent directors. So the company wants someone who is qualified, experienced, genuinely independent and suitable for the board. But where does the company find such people? So here we are saying that this is somewhere where you will find such people. How? So here comes the role of your section 150, right, where we are saying that it is going to provide for our data bank of persons. What it is going to provide you? It is going to provide you a data bank of persons. What kind of persons or whose data bank is being provided here? Who are willing and eligible to be appointed as independent directors, right? So here we are saying that first of all, there are two categories in which we are understanding that who has to apply. In the first category, what do we say? We say here that okay, the person who wants to become an independent director, for example, if there is a Mr. A, he wants to be appointed as an independent director, he can apply online for inclusion of his name in the data bank. Okay, so here you will see that they have to apply, right, so that their name is applicable, or here it can be seen in the particular category. The second, we are talking about person who already has been appointed as an independent director must also apply for inclusion in the data bank within the prescribed period. And what is this prescribed period? 13 months of appointment as an independent director. Okay, so here we are simply saying that okay, let us say that there is a person who has been appointed as a independent director of ABC Limited. Now this Mr. Sharma, who has been appointed, must ensure that his name is included in the data bank within the applicable 13 months period. Fine. Now how long will the name remain in this particular data set? Also there are few conditions for that. So first of all, we are saying that the person can apply for inclusion in 1 year, or it can apply for 5 years, or even lifetime. Okay, so here if let us say that Mr. Sharma wants his name in the independent directors data bank, he can choose whatever particular option he likes, 1 year, 5 year or lifetime, depending upon the applicable option. And here we will also talk about the renewal. Okay, so you know about the renewal of the memberships, right? In the very similar way, we are saying that suppose someone has chosen 1 year inclusion, now his period has expired for this 1 year, can he wait indefinitely and then renew? No, here he has to apply for renewal, and this is also can be done within 30 days of their particular duration getting expired. Okay, so suppose the data bank inclusion expires on 1st August 2027, we are saying that you have to apply for renewal within the prescribed 30 days period after expiry. You understood this? So here we are saying that independent director's term was how many years? Up to 5 years with data bank inclusion, where we are talking about section 150, in which we are talking about 1 year, 5 year or lifetime inclusion in the data bank. So two completely different things are there. Okay, do not get confused among the both. So here every individual within 13 months of appointment as an independent director, or every individual who wants to get appointed as independent director shall apply for inclusion of his name in the data bank for a period of 1 year, of 5 years or for his lifetime, right? 3 options were there. Now he shall apply for renewal within 30 days after expiry period of his name being included in the Databank, right? Now, a listed company, they are talking about section 151 now. So here we are saying that we have to appoint directors, those are elected by the small shareholders. So here this is a very different concept. So suppose there is a company ABC Limited that has promoter shareholding 60%. Also we are saying that this particular company has large institutional investors holding 25%, right? And now we are saying thousands of small shareholders are also having shareholding in this company, that is 15%, right? So now they may feel that okay, we own these shares too, but we have no voice on the board. So here section 151 says that okay, I am going to provide a mechanism for your representation, where we are saying that okay, a listed company may have one director elected by these small shareholders. Okay, so here we are using that keyword may, right, not shall. So here this is an optional provision. Okay, remember this is an optional provision but not a compulsory requirement for every listed company. And why does this exist? So here we are talking about the democratic part of the institution, where we are saying that okay, suppose there are 10,000 small shareholders, each person may have a small number of shares, individually they have a very little influence, but now section 151 is giving them a mechanism to elect one representative on the board, and that person is called as small shareholders director. Okay, understood? So here now how many such shareholders directors can we have? So we are saying that only one shareholder directors. Okay, so only one must be the number that you have to remember. Also the tenure is how much? Maximum 3 years consecutively. So a small shareholders director can hold office for not more than, okay, for not more than 3 consecutive years. So here if we are electing Mr. A and we are saying that he is a small shareholders director of ABC Limited, his tenure will be 3 years maximum, not 5 years. Understood? So here you have to understand that while we are talking about independent directors, we are talking about one term, that is 5 years. While we are talking about small shareholders director, we are talking about 3 years consecutively. Fine. Now tell me one thing, can this person be immediately associated with the company after his term? See here you have to understand that suppose there was a Mr. A whose 3 years tenure as a small shareholder was ending, right? Now ABC Limited immediately is going to appoint him as an employee, consultant, director or some other associated roles? Of course not. So here you will see the provision is restricting him from being appointed or associated with the company in another capacity. Okay, so here we are saying that okay, for 3 years from the date you cease to become a small shareholders director, there must be a 3 years of cooling off period, right? Understood? So let us say Mr. A had been appointed from 26 to 29 and appointed as what? Appointed as the small shareholders director, right? Now his term is ending in 2029. So can ABC Limited immediately appoint him as an employee? Of course not. There must be some statutory restriction, which are what? He will observe 3 years of cooling off period. So term is also for 3 years and also the cooling off period is also for 3 years, right? I hope this is clear to you. So small shareholders director shall not be appointed in or be associated with such company in any other capacity, either directly or indirectly, for a period of 3 years from the date on which he ceases to hold office as a small shareholders director in the company. Now let us move towards appointment of directors. So here we are saying that okay, who is going to appoint a director, what paperwork is required, and what happens to the director at the AGM, that is annual general meeting. So here let us talk about first of all appointment of directors, where we are saying that every director shall be appointed by the company in general meeting. So here shareholders are appointing your director, right? So here we are saying that okay, ABC Limited wants to appoint Mr. Sharma as a director. Who will normally appoint him? MD, CEO, CFO? No, none of them alone can do the same. Company will be appointing them in the general meeting. And here we also talk about director identification number, which is a very important requirement. Okay, so here we are saying that suppose Mr. Sharma wants to become a director. So can the company simply appoint him? Of course not. So a person should have been allotted the director identification number or any other number as specified by the central government. So it is a unique identification number for a director, just like you have a PAN card while you become a taxpayer, right? A director must have a DIN. Okay, so here if he intends to become a director, this is a very important thing that they must have. So suppose there is Mr. A who is proposed to be appointed as the director of ABC Limited, but he doesn't have this DIN. Then he will not be appointed unless the applicable prescribed identification requirement is fulfilled. Okay, now let's talk about our form DIR2. So here we are basically giving a consent to act as a director. Okay, so suppose the shareholders appoint Mr. A as a director. Does appointment automatically means that Mr. A can start functioning as a director? No. Here we are saying that he must give his consent to hold office as a director, and this is done through which form? Form DIR2. And why we are asking for his consent? See, think about it logically. Imagine your company says that okay, we have appointed you as our director. Now you will say that wait, I never agreed to become a director. So the law therefore requires the person to give their consent formally. Fine. So when must DIR2 be filed? So it must be filed with the registrar of companies within 30 days from the date of appointment, right? So Mr. A is appointed as a director on, let us say, 1st August. Then consent must be filed with ROC within how many days? 30 days from 1st August, right? Now there is a special exception for IFSC public company. So we are saying the period is 60 days and not 30 days within which the consent needs to be filed with the registrar of companies. Okay, so DIN is identification number, DIR2 is a consent form, ROC when the consent is filed, then it comes in the picture, and then we are talking about 30 days normally, and for IFSC public company 60 days of time period. Now retirement by this rotation. What we are saying here, we understand that okay, we have a section 152 that talks about their retirement too. So basically this particular section is concerned with public companies. Okay, certain public companies. So we are saying that directors don't all continue forever without facing shareholders. So some directors are retiring by rotation at every AGM. Okay, so shareholders are then given an opportunity to decide whether they should continue or not. So who is subject to this retirement by rotation? Tell me. See, here we are saying that few things are there. For example, at least 2/3 of the total number of directors except independent director and small shareholder director shall be such that their term shall be decided by the rotation. So basically, who has been excluded? Independent directors as well as small shareholders director, right? Now we are saying that 2/3 of the relevant directors. Okay, understood? And what does this retire by rotation mean? Can we understand that? See, we are saying that the director is not permanently removed. This is not what is happening. It means at the AGM certain directors' terms comes to an end and they retire from office by rotation. So they may then be reappointed as well. Okay, so here we are talking about the reappointment as well. So in every annual general meeting, after the general meeting to appoint first director, 1/3 of directors among these whose tenure is based on rotation shall retire by rotation. So let us take an example. Suppose there is a company ABC Limited that has 9 relevant directors and they are subject to retirement by rotation. So here at least 9 into 2 upon 3, that is your 6 directors will be rotational directors. Okay, so remaining 3 are not part of this rotational pool. So who retires every year? So we are talking about 1/3 rule of directors, this particular rule, where we are saying that at every AGM approximately 1/3 of the rotational directors are retiring by rotation. Suppose this ABC Limited had these 6 rotational directors, right? Now we are saying that 6 into 1 upon 3, that is equal to 2. So here 2 directors are retiring by rotation in the AGM. Okay, so how are you selecting these particular directors? So we are saying that directors who have been longest in the office, for the longest time in the office since their last appointment, are generally the ones who retire first. So if 2 or more directors were appointed on the same day, the selection is determined according to the applicable statutory mechanism. Okay, so there can be some mutual agreement or draw of lots. So here, did you think of why this particular system is existing? See, imagine there is a company that has 9 directors. Wait. Yeah. So here there is a company that has 9 directors. All directors are holding a permanent 10-year term. Shareholders would not regularly get a chance to reconsider their board. So rotation creates an accountability. Okay, so every year some will retire and shareholders will reappoint them, or it can reappoint them, and then shareholders get periodic control over this board of directors composition. What if vacancy is not filled? Tell me. See here, suppose Mr. A is retiring by rotation. At the AGM, his vacancy should be filled, right? But what happens if nobody is here appointed to fill this vacancy? And the meeting also does not expressly decides so that okay, the vacancy should remain unfulfilled. Then the meeting does not simply continue normally. What will happen? The meeting will get adjourned, right? So here you will see that the meeting is adjourned till what time? Same day. Like it is a Tuesday, then it will be Tuesday in the next week. Okay, at the same time and same place. So let us say AGM meeting was there on Monday 10th of August at 10 a.m. So here vacancy isn't filed and there is no resolution not to fill it. So meeting gets adjourned to Monday 17th August 10 a.m. right? The same place. What if that day is a national holiday? Then what will happen? See, on 17th August it is a holiday, national holiday. Then what will happen? You will see then the next succeeding day, not the previous day, rather next succeeding day, which is not a holiday, at the same time, same place. Okay, so original AGM was on Monday, so next Monday was a holiday, so we had decided to meet at on Tuesday, right, at the same time and same place. So if the vacancy of the retiring directors is not so filled up and the meeting has not expressly resolved not to fill the vacancy, the meeting shall stand adjourned till the same day in the next week at the same time and place, or if that day is a national holiday, till the next succeeding day, which is not a holiday, at the same time and same place. Now, what happens at the adjourned meeting? Suppose the adjourned meeting occurs again, retiring director's vacancy is not filled, and the meeting does not expressly resolve not to fill it, then the retiring director is deemed to have been reappointed. Fine, understood. Now what is this deemed reappointment that we are talking here? See here, first AGM took place in which Mr. A was retiring, nobody fulfilled his vacancy. Now here nobody passed a resolution saying that we are not going to fill this vacancy. So meeting adjourned till next week. Now, adjourned AGM again took place. Nobody filled the vacancy and nobody expressly resolved not to fill it then. So, Mr. A will be deemed as reappointed. Okay. So, here it is just like that, okay, if you do not fill the seat, then don't deliberately leave it vacant. We will treat the retiring director as continuing director. But of course, there are few exceptions that we have to understand. Okay. I will be telling those exceptions also. First of all, let us read the theory. If at the adjourned meeting also the vacancy of the retiring director is not filled up, that meeting also has not expressly resolved not to fill the vacancy, retiring director shall be deemed to have reappointed at the adjourned meeting. So, first exception is what? Here we are saying that reappointment resolution was defeated. So, suppose the company actually puts the question to shareholder that, okay, should Mr. A be reappointed? Shareholders' vote was no. The resolution is lost, then no deemed reappointment, right? Exception 2 is what? We are saying that, okay, director himself doesn't want to return. Mr. A has sent his written notice to the company or board of directors that, okay, I do not wish to be reappointed. Then he cannot be deemed reappointed, right? So, here the law cannot force someone to remain a director against his wishes. So, at the meeting or at the previous meeting, a resolution for the reappointment of such director has been put to the meeting and lost. The retiring director, by a notice in written addresses to the company or its BOD, expressed his unwillingness to so reappointed. Then we are talking about that he is not qualified or is disqualified. Either he is not qualified or he has been disqualified. So, suppose Mr. A is retiring, but at the time of the possible reappointment, he is either disqualified or is not qualified from being appointed as a director, then there will be no deemed reappointment. Suppose there is a director that becomes legally disqualified under the Act 2. Even if nobody fills the vacancy at the AGM, you cannot use deemed reappointment to bypass the disqualification. Okay, then we talk about special resolution or ordinary resolution, where we are saying that Act 2 requires a particular resolution for his appointment or reappointment. Then what will happen? The automatic deemed reappointment mechanism doesn't apply. Why? Because the law specifically requires shareholders to pass the required resolution. You cannot bypass that requirement by saying nobody filled the vacancy, so he automatically came back, right? So, a resolution, whether special or ordinary, is required for his appointment, reappointment by virtue of any provision of this Act 2. Now, we are saying that section 162 applies, so then reappointment doesn't happen. So, section 162 will be studied again in the next part only, in this particular chapter only, but you have to just understand that we are saying that no deemed reappointment can take place. Okay, understood? So, what we have said, what are those exceptions? First of all, resolution is lost, director does not want or expresses unwillingness, is disqualified or not qualified, and it requires some resolution, or section 162 applies. These are the 5 particular exceptions under which a person cannot be deemed reappointed. Okay, hopefully this is clear to you. Now, let us move towards our next section, that is section 153, where we are going to talk about application for allotment of DIN. So, here we are saying that how does a person get his DIN? So, if an individual intends to become a director, he has to apply to the central government for allotment of DIN. The application is made through form DIR 3. And here you have to pay a fee of 5,000 rupees. Fine. So, let us say that someone wants to become a director of ABC Limited. He doesn't have a DIN. So, what does he do? He will apply to the central government through form DIR 3, and then he will receive a DIN. Okay. So, it should be available on the website of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay. So, DIR is a consent form. DIR 2 and DIR 3 is application for DIN. Okay, understood? Now section 154, allotment of DIN. So here we are saying that okay, Mr. Rahul had submitted his application. Who actually gives him this DIN? Central government shall allot this DIN within how many months? 1 month, okay, from the receipt of application under section 153 in the prescribed manner. Now here we have to understand that the central government shall within 1 month from the receipt of the application under section 153 allots a DIN to an applicant in such manner as may be prescribed. Then let's talk about section 155, prohibition to obtain more than one DIN. So here one individual cannot have more than one DIN. So let us say that Mr. Rahul has already a DIN which is something like that, take any number. Then here can he apply for another DIN? No, because he becomes director of another company. No, that is also not the case. His existing DIN can be used or is associated with him. Okay, so DIN belongs to the individual, not to the company. So he can be the director of ABC, XYZ, PQR, doesn't matter. He does not need 3 DINs, only 1 DIN will be enough for him. Okay, now director to intimate DIN under section 156. So we are saying that okay, Rahul has obtained his DIN. Now what's next? He has to tell the company that okay, this is my DIN, and the section says that okay, for an existing director he must intimate his DIN to the company or all companies in which he is the director within how many days? Within just 1 month of receiving the DIN from the central government. So every existing director shall within 1 month of the receipt of DIN from the central government intimate his director in identification number to the company or all companies wherein he is the director. So you have to follow this particular rules. Okay, now I am just telling you once the flow. First of all, what happened? Rahul received his DIN. Now government will give the DIN to him. He will tell his company. Company will tell the ROC, and that is how there is a relationship between this particular section with section 156(7), where we are saying that company to inform DIN to registrar of companies. So every company within 15 days from the receipt of DIN by the director shall inform the ROC using form DIR 3B. Okay. So earlier what was happening? Director informed company, now company will inform them, and company is given 15 days of time period to inform ROC. Okay, the form is important, form DIR 3B. So this is the third form in this particular series. DIR 2 where the consent was given, DIR 3 where we had applied for DIN, DIR 3B where the registrar of companies is being informed by the company, right? Now we are saying that okay, let's talk about the most beautiful part of those Companies Act, penalties. So suppose there is this particular ABC Limited didn't inform ROC within these 15 days. What is going to happen? There will be a penalty. So here company has minimum 25,000 rupees and continuing failure of 25,000 rupees and 100 rupees per day. Okay, subject to 1 lakh rupees. So let us say company failed to furnish DIN within the prescribed period. Penalty will start at 25,000 rupees. Now what will happen? If the default continues, then they have to pay 100 rupees per day. So here the maximum amount of penalty can be 1 lakh rupees. So this is about whom? Company. That forgot. What about the officer in charge? So the officer who is also in default, he will also pay minimum fine of 25,000 rupees. For contravention, continuous contravention, they have to pay 100 rupees per day. then maximum amount that they have to pay will be 1 lakh rupees. So there can be the liability on company as well as officer in director in charge or default, right? So here, if any company fails to furnish the director identification number within 15 days, then they shall be liable to a penalty of a minimum of 25,000 rupees, and in case of continuing failure, with further penalty of 100 rupees for each day, subject to the maximum of 1 lakh rupees. Okay, understood? Every officer who is in default, again minimum 25,000 rupees, continuous contravention, further penalty of 100 rupees per day to a maximum of 1 lakh rupees. Now let's talk about our next section, that is section 158, where we are going to talk about obligation to indicate DIN. So here this is just like the final step where we are saying that okay, whenever a person or company furnishes a return information or particulars under this Companies Act and that returns or information or particulars relate to a director or contains a reference to a director, then the DIN must be mentioned. So suppose there is ABC Limited that files a document with the registrar relating to its director Rahul. Now the relevant document requires the director's identification. So who should be included? Rahul's DIN should be included. Why? Because names can sometimes be similar. For example, Rahul Sharma, Rahul Kumar, Rahul Singh. There are so many Rahuls. I myself have 15 Rahuls in my phone book. So here the DIN uniquely identifies the individual in his capacity as a director. So the DIN helps regulators know exactly which directors are we talking about. Understood? So every person or company, while furnishing any return information or particulars, are required to be furnished under this act to mention DIN in such return. Information or particular in case in such return, information or particulars relate to the director or contain any reference of the director. Hopefully this is clear to you. Now let us move towards our next section, that is section 159. Where again we are talking about punishment for contravention, or better you can use the word penalty. So here we are saying that there can be default under section 152, 155 and 156. So here you have to understand that okay, section 152 was talking about appointment of directors. Section 155 and 156 talked about here not more than one DIN, and here they must intimate DIN to the company. Now section 159 says that what if the individual or director defaults in complying with these provisions, a penalty will be applicable, right? So here the maximum penalty will be 50,000 rupees, and if the default continues, then 500 rupees per day there will be the penalty after the first day of continuing default. So suppose a director committed a default covered under this section 159, then the applicable penalty may extend up to 50,000 rupees. Suppose the default continues for another 10 days, then additional penalty will be 500 rupees into 10, that is 5,000 rupees. So they will have to pay 55,000 rupees. Okay, so there they may extend to is the word. So you have to remember that 50,000 is the maximum, not automatically fixed penalty. Okay, it may extend to 50,000 rupees where the default is a continuing one. Okay, so individual or director makes any default in these sections, such individual or director of the company shall be liable to a penalty with the further penalty which may extend to 500 rupees for each day after the first two. Now, right of persons other than retiring directors. What is happening here? We are saying that who can propose themselves as a director even though they are not a retiring director. Imagine there is this particular company that we were talking about, ABC Limited. At the AGM, there is an existing director, Mr. A. He is retiring by rotation. But another person, Mr. B, is not a retiring director. So can Mr. B also become a director? Yes. Section 160 here is giving you this particular mechanism for a person other than the retiring director. okay, to stand for appointment as a director. So basically here a person who is not retiring can be eligible or will be eligible for consideration of the appointment to the office of a director at any general meeting. If the person proposes to be a director, the intentions behind such proposal along with deposit of 1 lakh rupees needs to be submitted. Okay, so here certain procedural requirements are also there. So first of all, you have to submit a notice of intention. Also you have to go ahead with 1 lakh rupees deposit. So this Mr. B wants to stand for election as a director. Okay, you have to submit the required notice of his intention along with 1 lakh rupees subject to the statutory conditions and exemption. So why is there a deposit? Imagine there is a company that has 50,000 shareholders. If anyone could casually nominate someone without any requirement, process could become chaotic. So deposit creates a degree of seriousness around the proposal. Hopefully this is also clear to you. Now let's move towards section 161, where we are talking about appointment of additional, alternate and nominee director. So here we are saying that section 161 basically gives us 3 special categories of directors: additional director, alternate director, nominee director, and there is another rule about this casual vacancy. So here first of all let's talk about additional director. Here we are saying that, okay, let us say the ABC Limited has currently its board. The company suddenly needs another director, but the next AGM is not happening yet. So the company wait until the AGM? See, not necessarily. The article may empower the board of directors to appoint an additional director. And how long does this additional director stay? So for up to the date of next AGM. So let us say that ABC Limited appointed Mr. A as an additional director in June, right? And now next AGM will be taking place in the September. So his office as an additional director will normally continue from June to September only, that is up to the date of the AGM only. Okay, understood? Next, alternate director. So this one is quite easier. You have to just to basically understand, just like there is a substitute player in the cricket team, right? Why do we have him? Because if some player get injured, we can simply replace them. Fine. So here let us say Mr. A is going to be absent from India for a substantial period. Now company can appoint Mr. B as an alternate director who will temporarily act in the place of Mr. A. So Mr. A is the director of ABC Limited, okay, but he is an alternate director. Fine. So when does the alternate director leave? See, this is also important. So he or she will vacate his or her office when the original director returns to India. So Mr. A, whenever he comes back to India, then here you will see that Mr. B's role as an alternate director will end. And can the alternate director stay longer than the original director's permissible term? Of course not. So he cannot hold his office longer than the period permissible. So the alternate does not get a completely independent unlimited tenure. Okay, so shall not hold office for a period longer than permissible to the director in whose place he has been appointed. Shall vacate his office when the director in whose place he has been appointed returns to India. Now let's talk about nominee director. Okay, so here what we are saying that, okay, there is a, let us say, a large financial institution that is investing heavily in this particular company ABC Limited, and now they want someone on the board to represent their interest. So what they will do, they will nominate a nominee director. Okay, so here what will happen, we have to understand that he is basically a representative on the board of directors of this large financial institution. Fine. So the nominating institution gets representation through the director. They are normally appointed by large shareholding institution like investment bank to act as their representative. Now let's talk about casual vacancy. So imagine something happens, like for example, ABC Limited has a director Mr. A, and his term was supposed to continue until 2029, but his sudden demise took place, basically he died, okay, or he resigned, or he has become unable to continue in the office, so his office becomes vacant before expiry of his term. So this is known as what? Casual vacancy. So if the office of any director of the public company is vacated before his tenure expires, resulting casual vacancy may be filled by the BOD at a meeting of the board. So for a public company, the resulting casual vacancy may be filled by BOD at a board of directors meeting. Fine. So Mr. A's term was 26 to 2029, remember. So now he is resigning in 2027. So there is a vacancy before the normal expiry. So casual vacancy will be filled according to this particular act. I hope this is clear to you. Section 161. Now we are going to talk about which section? Section 162. So for section 162, you have to basically understand that we are talking about directors to be voted individually. So here we are simply working on one principle, that don't bundle multiple directors' appointment into one resolution. Suppose this particular ABC Limited wants to appoint Mr. A, Mr. B, Mrs. C as directors. Can the company say that, okay, let's have one resolution to appoint all these three people? Generally, no. So section 162 says that, okay, a motion for appointment of 2 or more persons as director by a single resolution should not be moved. The appointment should be considered separately. Why? Because shareholders may like Mr. A but may dislike Mr. B. So if we are saying that Mr. B and Mr. C are put in the same resolution and we are going to appoint them, then shareholder has to vote on the whole package, and here individual choice will be reduced. Okay, so here we are saying that, okay, in resolution 1 we talked about Mr. A as a director, so here you have to vote either yes or no for resolution 2 for Mr. B and resolution 3 for Mrs. C as director, and then this is the basic simple thing, that one resolution per one director. So at general meeting of a company, a motion for the appointment of 2 or more persons as director of the company by a single resolution shall not be moved. The voting for approval for appointment of 2 or more directors should not be done in one go. So it should be done separately for each director. Now you will see that we saw something about section 152, okay, in which section 162 was talked. You remember the exception part? So deemed reappointment rule, right? So here there was one exception, that if section 162 applies, deemed reappointment does not happen. You have to understand that if the law requires individual voting, you cannot bypass the requirement through automatic deemed reappointment, and that's why we said that section 162 is applicable. Now you understood? Now let us move towards section 163, where we are talking about proportional representation. So this is also very important. This is also in the exams. So here you have to understand that normal system might result in majority shareholding, okay, controlling most board of directors appointment. But what if the article wants to give these minority shareholders a better chance of getting board of directors representation? So here we will say that, okay, section 163 allows the article for proportional representation. What does this proportional representation mean? See, suppose there are 10 BOD seats, okay, shareholder groups are there. Group A that has 60% voting power, and group B, here this B represents board, okay, group B that has 40% voting power. Now under a pure majority system, group A could potentially dominate the appointments, but in the proportional representation we aim to make board representation more closely reflecting the voting strength of different shareholder groups. So how many directors can be appointed this way? Here we are saying that not more than 2/3 of the total number of directors can be appointed according to the principle of proportional representation, and here we have to make sure that this appointment is done every 3 years under the proportional representation rule. Suppose ABC Limited is there, it has 9 directors, it adopted proportional representation, more than 2/3 directors mean 9 into 2 upon 3, that is equal to 6. So provision can cover more than 6 directors, potentially 7 or more, subject to the statutory framework. Okay, so articles of a company may provide for the appointment every 3 years for more than 2/3 of the total number of the directors as per the principle of proportional representation. You understood? So we are here giving a better chance of board representation instead of saying that okay, winner is going to take everything. The idea is closer to board representation can reflect voting strength as well. Hopefully this is clear. So should we end this lecture now and continue in the second part, because the lecture is going to be otherwise quite big. So yeah, we will do this. Let us end the session for the day. Okay, I hope you have understood this part very well. You have cleared all the concepts. So if you are having any doubt, you can definitely ask me, right? You can also message us on our Telegram channel and Telegram group. If you are having any doubt, you can connect with us on our Telegram. You can also purchase any courses if you want on our RPA Academy website or application if you want. Okay, so other than that, I am saying about let us talk about some this particular notification thing, because this is a lot in discussion these days, whether it will come, whether it will not come, what will happen. So first of all, people who are here going to give EPFO exam, focus on this exam as of now. But yes, I will say this is something, there are although very less vacancies, also along with that you will see this particular exam needs holistic preparation. Okay, so either prepare in that manner or do not appear for the exam itself. If you think that okay, I have to appear for SEBI PFRDA IFSCA such kind of exams, so but I am unsure that notification will come. See, it is not going to happen that no notification will come. Of course, if they are saying that PFRD notification will come, it must come. They must have some credibility, the other coaching institutes that have said this part, right? Other than that, let us see. Okay, PFRD notification didn't arrive. Then SEBI and IFSCA will come. Let us say okay, SEBI did not come, IFSCA will come. It will never happen that nothing will come. Okay, there will be no appointments. Can you think of something like no appointments? No, right? Of course, there will be some appointments, there will be some discussions, right? So it's better you study, because see, all those exams that you are preparing for, let it be RBI, let it be NABARD, let it be your SEBI PFRDA IFSCA EPFO or whatever, right? You know, these posts are not something like okay, there are too many posts. First of all, too many vacancies are there, or something like okay, exams are not tough, exams are very tough. Okay, so of course you have to study a lot. So if you are preparing, it doesn't mean that all your preparation, all your efforts will go in vain. Those people who are waiting for notification, continuously making a scene out of notification, for them this is my advice, please do not do those things. So if you feel that okay, we do not need to purchase any course, see, earlier what was happening now, while there was no YouTube or something for the preparation part, people used to first of all purchase the courses. Okay, use those coaching center notes, or better go with self study or purchase the books, and then prepare for 1 year holistically, and then they started giving the exam. So you people have free resources present on YouTube, not just from my channel, there are other channels also. All the coaching institutes are providing you some or other classes. You better study now. Why are you so much like what, should we prepare, should we not prepare? Then the notification will come, oh ma'am, how will you prepare in such less time? There are so many vacancies, there are so less vacancies, there are so many problems, this is happening, that is happening. Why are you doing so? Imagine, there was a student of mine, I will not take her name. So her SEBI paper 2 was there, phase 2 was there, and she was so sick that after phase 2 she had to go through some surgery, right? So can you imagine that what pain she would be in? And if you do not prepare, right, and such kind of emergencies, problems come your way, something happens, might be you are not in that mindset of preparing under the pressure, then what you are going to face? So it's better to keep yourself prepared at least. Why you are focusing on notification? It will come when it has to come. okay, and nobody is working in those organizations who is teaching you here, okay, so nobody has those information, and people working in those institutes also do not have all the information. It's not like that they are publicly announcing that okay, we have passed a resolution that we are going to hire 10 people or 20 people. No, it doesn't happen like that. You do not get all the information while you are working in a particular organization. You just get bare minimum information that relates to your work. So it's better that you focus on your preparation, please. This is a request, okay? So that's it for the day, and keep preparing and be motivated, be focused. That's it, okay? Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye, take care.